Okay, so wanted to walk you through the process of changing a sensor for the Libre Freestyle Libre 14-day sensor. The process has already begun, and I didn't video anything yet. But let me just show you what you missed. So you take the scanner, and as it gets closer to the sensor expiring, it'll let you know. And I scanned it this morning, and it said that I had 46 minutes left, which I was aware of. I already actually had a timer set on my phone. Well, then the timer went off on my phone. I was like, okay, yeah, cool, I'm on it. And then the next thing you know, it had expired, and I had not scanned again. So I guess the last 46 minutes of that sensor is not going to show up. So what happens when you scan it then? Well, I'll scan it and show you what you get. Nothing. It'll tell you that the scanner's expired. You get a picture of a scanner and a red dot, and it says, nope, basically you waited too long. So, because I put my sensor on the same arm every time, there's a gap. I have a gap in time between sensors. You don't have to do that. I could put it on my left arm for 2 weeks, and then the next sensor goes on my right arm for 2 weeks. However, I learned that sensor on my left arm doesn't do well because I sleep on my left side. And I tend to be a tumultuous sleeper, which means at some point I'm going to dislodge that thing, even with the cover on it. Don't know why, but I do. And I thought, you know what? Instead of wasting a $38 sensor, I'll just waste a couple hours between sensors and get good readings for 2 weeks. So, the next step in the process, I put on a wristband around my elbow, above my elbow, and I start putting baby oil all around the cover. And that'll loosen it right up. And it'll pull right off if I pull on it. But what I'm probably going to do today is just let it happen. And more likely than not, it'll happen while I'm rowing. Once you start kind of moving it a lot and working up a little bit of a sweat, it'll just, if it won't fall off completely, it'll be really just dangling there. So that's what's going to happen. I've got the baby oil on. I'm going to go have a little bit of breakfast and watch some football, and we'll check back in on it later. It's sensor changing day. Be back. All right, so the Premier League match, the late match, was more than I expected, both in entertainment value and benefit to my team. So I did not get out here as soon as I thought I would, because I really thought Man City was going to show themselves quite quickly and dominantly over Newcastle, and I could come out here without fear of missing too much. But anyway, so I am getting a later return to the garage than I had hoped for, and was distracted to the point of oblivion about changing my sensor. Since I decided a couple months ago to just use my right arm and just deal with the subsequent lag in time between sensors, I guess I just haven't gotten kind of used to a schedule with it, because I like to just use the baby oil, which I mentioned earlier, to kind of let the cover and the sensor itself almost just fall off on its own. But today it might be one of those days where I have to just go ahead and pull it off. So, I will, as soon as I'm done rowing. If it doesn't fall off while I'm rowing, which I mentioned is a distinct possibility. Then, when I'm done exercising, clean the arm real good with alcohol, which I'll show you, and then apply what's called skin tack. It's for medical devices, not just CGMs, or diabetic insulin pumps, or whatever other kind of medical device you would have attached to your skin. It's like I think of it as pine tar for your skin. It is sticky. I've gotten to the point where I use gloves when I'm putting it on, or use a glove when I'm putting it on, because it's hard to even wash off your hands too easily. I mean, soap and water, alcohol kind of helps, but I just as soon put on one glove, put the skin tack on. It's on a small little wipe, just kind of wipe the area that's going to be hosting your application, and then I'll say assembling the sensor. It's a two-part thing that clicks together and injects the little needle. So you'll see all that process. I am going to show you. It's just going to be a little bit longer than I thought. And of course, you're oblivious to how much time has passed since I recorded the first half of this, or first portion of this video. But like I said, just to put a little more baby oil on there. Sometimes when you see a dark spot in the middle of the sensor circle, that's blood, because there is a needle there. And it's amazing to me that at times it will bleed through, but it will. I wish I knew from other users of this system their exercise habits. Sometimes I think the increased blood flow and demand of the muscle in that area might have something to do with, shall we call it, leakage. I did my chest and tris early in the week, and then I did chest again later, with only, I guess I really didn't emphasize triceps on my second one. My triceps were sore this week, so I know I worked them pretty good. I haven't done a whole lot otherwise triceps, but anyway, so yeah, that might be a little blood spot there in the middle, but it's irrelevant. It doesn't like leak through onto your clothing or anything like that. I haven't seen any blood on my bed sheets or light colored shirts or any of that, so that's a good thing. But anyway, just an update on where we are in the process. After you apply the sensor to you, and then apply the cover over that, they do recommend doing that at least an hour prior to exercise. So I would just as soon get done with my exercise before I begin the process. But when I do, I'll show it to you. And that'll be in a couple hours, I guess. See you in a minute. Okay, so 10K row is done. There is much perspiration. And I imagine that my sensor is ready to come right off. But I thought I'd record it and let you see. I don't know if it comes off as easy as I think it is. It doesn't really look like it's just hanging on. Oh, but it was just hanging on. So that's that. You won't get this view with the new one quite. So here's the inside. And I don't know if you can see, there is just a, I don't know, is that 1/4 of an inch? Just a little needle that goes in. Came right out. No sensation at all. Just a sweaty fat guy. Be back later for more. Alright, so I'm going to start the process of putting on a new sensor. I apologize for the camera work. I am working with just my phone camera. So you're going to probably see the top of my head and all its wonderful baldness there for a while. So I'm starting off with some alcohol wipes. I actually am going to apply a little extra alcohol to this wipe. and thoroughly clean the area where the previous sensor was. There's really not even too much of a mark. You can see the little circle there. We're going to wipe it down real good. I won't put it in the exact same place, not even, I'm sure I could if I tried. The instructions are fairly vague. It actually says back of the arm. There are user groups where I've seen people comment about they put it in their chest, they put it in their belly, they put it in their thigh. At the end of the day, as long as it is reading interstitial fluid, I don't know that it matters too much where it goes. I am a rule follower for the most part, so I try to stick to the arm, and I don't know what necessarily defines the back of the arm. Some people's backs are a little farther back than others, some are a little broader, and whatever. Okay, so that is done. That is nice and clean. I am going to put on a latex glove on my surfacing hand here, so I don't get to stick them on my hand like crazy. So this is what I'm using. It's called Skin Tack. Of course, I guess in the camera everything's backwards, but you get the idea. It's called Skin Tack. It comes in these lovely little packs. And I'm just going to take one here and open it. And you're going to see that it is much like a wet wipe you might get with your ribs. I am going to do my best to do this one-handed since that's my glove hand. We're going to open out this strip, and it really is quite like glue. We're just going to wipe the area, make it nice and sticky. I don't know if you can tell, but my hand's already kind of sticking to things. It is really, really sticky. But it helps. I'll tell you a story while I'm cleaning up a little bit here. The very first time I used one of these sensors, I think I put it on a Saturday afternoon. And at the time, not knowing any more than I did, which was very little, I didn't know about covers. So I put it on a Saturday afternoon, and I think it made it till Tuesday when I laid on the floor of the garage here to do my abs, and I stood up and was a little grittier than I thought I would be, and just a casual like that, boop, popped it right off. That's when I started looking around and I found covers. Okay, so here's the box. It's got a little pull tag there to open it up. I'm going to tilt you down a little bit here. And of course it comes with instructions that I don't need because I've done this for better than a year and a half. And they're very kind to give you alcohol wipes, which you know these kind of alcohol wipes are almost useless unless you are trying to alcohol wipe something very small. But I keep them anyway, just in case. They're convenient to have in my regular diabetes kit. So here's your two pieces. They have very small serial numbers on each one. You are advised to make sure those serial numbers match. M0688V34FM. And I know that as long as I can read this, I don't need to go back to the eye doctor yet because it's small. Alright, so first of all, we're going to open this up. It's sealed on there pretty good. Nothing really much to see, some plasticky looking gadgets. And then we're going to pop off this piece here. And there you can see the bottom of the sensor. I showed you earlier what one looks like. Now, this little dark line right here has to line up with this little dark line right here, like so. And they just pop together, nice as could be. You pull it out, And now you're looking at the sensor. And we're going to line it up back here. I want to try to not go in the same exact spot. That's a little farther back than I kind of like to do. Push it down. Bingo. There it is. I don't see any blood. Sometimes, rarely. Rarely. Once, maybe twice since I started using this thing. Like I said, it's been a year and about 7 months that I've been using these. Twice maybe did I actually bleed on the initial application. So, you are done with this part of the gadget. You are done with this part of the gadget. From experience, I will tell you, hold on to it. Take the box that it came in. That also has the same matching serial number. It's going to have your prescription tag on there. Leave all of that. Put those two back in the box. Seal it up. I usually have a Sharpie, and I will actually mark on the box the time and date that it was applied, just for my own ease of use, and hold on to it until next time. This is my empty box from 2 weeks ago. I can pitch it now because that sensor is done and it worked adequately. If your sensor doesn't work properly, and you can prove it with blood tests, Abbott, the company that makes them, is pretty good about replacing them for you. At least twice, if not 3 times, they have mailed me replacement sensors, which is nice because insurance, at least in my case, my insurance doesn't cover it. So I'm paying out of pocket for these things. If one goes south, I want it replaced. Now, that said, when you scan your sensor, you're going to get a, let's just, for ease of use, let's say 100. When you check your blood sugar, then immediately with blood, you're not going to get 100. More often than not. More often than not. Sometimes you will. There is lag time. They actually have a video that explains it quite well. What that little needle is picking up on is interstitial fluid, and it gets a pretty good estimate of what your actual blood sugar is. But it is an estimate, and it is not from blood. Now, in 5 or 10 minutes, doing another blood test, it should tell you the same number that your scan did earlier. There is lag time. I guess it depends on which way you're trending, and the sensor will tell you that. If you are neutral, that's not the term they use. If you're not trending up or down, the arrow will just be a flat arrow to the side. If you're trending up, there's an up arrow, and down, there's a down arrow, and it's not exactly rocket science. With a new sensor, you will have multiple times. I've never really counted. I'm not sure that there is a specific number. But for a while after starting a new sensor, there will be an indicator on the scanner that it's a sign, an icon that means it's recommending you do a blood test. So, in spite of what their ads say, you still do have to finger prick with this thing. You just don't have to do it as often. And if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're shaking and unable to stand up and walk, you're going to get a pretty good estimate just by scanning. You don't necessarily have to do a finger stick. So, there's that. Now, I'm going to remove this glove because I'm done with the sticky part of the game. And I am going to put on a cover. Cover is from a company called Skin Grip. I know you're looking at it backwards. Sorry. I actually have, this is a bag that contains 2 previous orders. One is pink and one is blue. I just alternate. I don't know why. But I needed some backups because I was getting low at one point and it was
cheap. It was cheaper to get 2 than just one. These things can be a pain in the ass to put on. I don't know that there's an easy way to do it. I'm going to do my best to not screw it up. The backing that peels off is in 5 pieces, which to me seems a little like overkill. I'm not sure why it can't just come off in one piece. Sometimes getting all 5 pieces off without twisting or torquing the cover itself is not easy. Here, let me tilt you down again. Let you see what I'm doing here. So I'm peeling this last piece off. I've taken the first one off and turned it around so I can hold on to it without my fingers sticking to the adhesive. Alright, now I've got that off, and I'm going to try the best I can. Sometimes it's easier with a mirror, sometimes it really isn't. I'm going to turn this way a little bit here and try to place that and get an idea of where the center is. Alright, now I'm going to push down on my sensor until the sticker touches all the way around. I got one little crease. That didn't do too bad. The crease is there, but whatever. That's good enough. Now, that's it. And believe it or not, I mean, that's cloth. So I don't know how the hell it holds up to 2 weeks worth of sweat. You know I exercise every day, sometimes more than once a day. I get sweaty doing other things around the house, housework and whatever all else. And that joker stays on. Okay, so now I will tell you this. I don't use it as much as I used to because I am more experienced with this thing now. But the Facebook group users, Freestyle Libre users, whatever, I forget exactly what it's called, was very helpful. It lets you tap into the experience of people who may have been using this system a lot longer than you have. Just want to make sure I'm not throwing weight on the box. So, I don't look on there, like I said, as often as I used to. But one of the things that I did learn from the group, and it's somewhat anecdotal, I don't know that there's any definitive evidence, but most people felt like the sensors worked better, and by better I'm assuming they meant more consistent readings, when you actually have it in place for a while before you start using it. Not sure why, but it, at least in my head, makes sense and seems to be the case. So, it is 6:23. I will probably not start this sensor until probably at least 8 o'clock. I'll leave it on there for an hour and a half, maybe more. And at that time, I will show you the next step of the process. It's really not a big deal. I'll just tell you about it right now in case I don't get to it and don't remember to. I'll get to it. I just may not remember to videotape it. When you go to scan, all you have to do is turn on your sensor and boop. However, this is a new sensor, and it will know that my previous sensor expired. So I'll scan it, and it'll ask me if I want to start a new sensor. I push yes, I scan it again, and it says scanner will be ready in 1 hour. And then I like to set a timer because I kind of forget to come back to it an hour later. But that said, I will probably not do anything. I won't start this till later, actually. I don't know when, but that might just be the end of what we see about it today. So, anyway, that's all. If you had any apprehensions about using this system, I would tell you to abandon them. I don't remember what my A1C was prior to using this, but I can tell you that it has helped immensely with the controlling of my blood sugars. Getting more serious with my weight over the last however long it's been, 11 months or so, has made a big difference too. In fact, if you are anticipating losing weight as a diabetic, this system's a must, because you start losing weight to the point where your medication doses are going to be different. And you're going to start finding out that you don't need the insulin that you used to. Or if you're on oral meds, you may find that you don't need 2,000 milligrams of metformin or glipizide or whatever you take. And this will let you, and then of course it gives you ways that you can share that information with your doctor, and he can decide, or she, your doctor can decide, appropriate drops in the amount of medication that you take. It's been a big deal for me. Prior to my weight loss, just the one insulin, I actually am on 3 different injections every day. The main long-lasting insulin that I take, I was taking 62 units per day. Because of some other complications, my doctor had me split that in half. So I was taking 31 before bed and 31 when I got up in the morning. I am now down to 16 and 16. So my insulin consumption is almost, that particular insulin, almost in half. And most of that's attributable to weight loss. However, I wouldn't know that I needed that reduction if I wasn't able to easily and quickly and accurately see where my blood sugar was. It is nice if I'm going out to eat, or if I'm eating lunch or something quickly, to just scan it and know, okay, I'm about to eat this with this amount of carbs. I only need this amount of insulin, because I checked my blood sugar that quickly without having to sit down and get a finger stick and blah, blah, blah. So this system, and of course this is an older model. I think they're on the Freestyle Libre 2, maybe even another one after that. I'm still content with this one. My doctor's content with the results so far, so I'm still using it. But I highly recommend it. I wish they would see this video so that they would say, hey, we should send this guy some more freebies. I think you should too. So should Skin Tack. And what's the other one? Skin Grip. Yep. Send me all the freebies you want to send me. Anyway. Alright, I think that's it for now. If I anticipate any more earth-shattering revelations from this process, I will be sure to record it and share it with you. Sorry that today is unusually long. Don't feel obligated. Skip it if you're not interested in diabetes and the management thereof. But other than that, thanks for watching. I may or may not holler at you later.